YouTube, what's going on? It's Analytic Reason, and we made it. We made it to the end of the season. Today's the last day of regular season games, and I want to start off by saying thank you. Thank you for everyone that's subscribed, that's followed along, that's pressed the like button. I appreciate everybody who generally showed interest and followed along with me through this journey. We didn't do so bad, even though I haven't been doing so well the last few games. I think we still up like 10 times our money if you started from the start. What I'll do is in a future video, I will put out a video showing my Excel spreadsheet, and for transparency purposes, and you could follow along like that too. But yeah, moving forward, see, the playoffs are a different animal. The playoffs are really hard to cap. It's because I cap motivation. Well, guess what? In the playoffs, everyone has motivation, right? So they got all these theories, the zigzag theory. I just kind of go by gut feeling. So my uploads for playoff games, I'm gonna be like I'm gonna be as if like a sniper. I'm gonna just pick the games out sporadically. So my uploads isn't gonna be that often for the playoffs, unless I see something that I really like. So the regular season games are easier. They're who's motivated to play on a random Tuesday, against a whack squad? Nobody. Like, especially in a town like I don't know, Indiana. Like who's really up to play? It's in an 82 game season. Who wants to play a random game like that? So you guys kind of have to gauge the motivation of these players. But in a playoff game, that shit goes out the window. So you got to be real selective in the playoffs. So I'm gonna pick an official pick. Today's video is going to be a little bit long because I'm just going to go and ramble on what I think. All right. So, my first instinct was to pick the earliest game possible. I know the first game tips off at like 1 p.m. And the reason I want to pick the earliest games today is because there's a lot of seeding and playoff implications that happen, and you got all these teams that play later on in the afternoon and at night that are looking at these earlier games and going, if this team loses, I move up, so I don't have to play as hard. And if this team wins, we're locked in this spot. And there's all these implications. So I try to look for the earliest game that I could bet on first. And there's a couple of them, but there's just so many. Like, today's really fucked up. At first I'm the first thing I looked at was, who has incentive to win? And there's like all these teams that have incentive to win, right? And those teams, for example, like the Lakers and Portland, okay? Lakers are going against New Orleans and they're minus 11 on the road. But they got to win this game, you know what I mean? To avoid the play-in tournament. I'm not taking a minus 11. I don't like those double-digit favorites. And Portland's minus 11 against Denver. I'm not taking that. So I gotta just avoid some of those games. And the earliest game that I found that actually has decent playoff implications is this Memphis and Golden State Warriors game. And I think they tip off around 3:30. And this one seems a little bit tricky. Golden State should be, in my opinion, like a minus 6.5, minus 7. So I feel like I'm being trapped here. But gun to head, I'm taking Golden State all day, every day, against any team that has, something to play, like Golden State has something to play for. I'm gonna take Golden State Warriors because of pedigree. They're what, two-time champions or something like that. I think they're three-time champions, right? They're three-time champions, and gun to head, I'm taking Golden State Warriors here, -4. See, whoever wins this game gets locked into the either 8th or 7th seed. I think it might be the 7th. Shit, I don't even know. But all I know is that they don't have to play an extra game to survive in their playoff berth. So this game's actually pretty important. It secures the home court advantage for them to play in the play-in tournament, and it secures them to play only one game instead of two. So there's not really much analytic reason for this other than I would just rather take Golden State here because Memphis is such a young team. You don't know how they're gonna react under pressure, and I feel like Golden State's been there, done that before, and Draymond and Curry are set to play again. It's set to play tonight. Hopefully they do, and I'm gonna take experience. I'm gonna take the experience here. So I'm gonna take Golden State Warriors -4 for the final game of the season. Now, let me run through some games and tell you what I think. Okay. So I was capping the games, and I started thinking to myself, well, who has incentive to lose, right? I'm here finding out, trying to see who has incentive to win today. Well, let's see who has incentive to lose, okay? Detroit has no incentive to win. Houston currently is locked in to be the last place, whatever, of the whole NBA teams to they're locked in for the worst record in the league. So Houston actually might not be a bad bet today against Atlanta because Houston really has nothing to play for, and they might just play their hearts out. So Houston might be a sneaky bet actually, but you'd be crazy to take Houston, like such a bad team, and actually put money on them. But Houston might be a sneaky play. Because they really haven't, like, even if they win, they're still locked in for the worst record in the league. Okay, but Detroit is in second, is in right now their second worst record in the league, and winning tonight really doesn't help their case because that puts them in a tie with Orlando and OKC for the worst record. Now, having said that, Orlando and OKC has no incentive to win because if they do, it moves them up and they're no longer tied for third worst, right? So now let's see who Detroit is playing. Detroit's playing Miami. Now, does Miami have incentive to win today? They do. But the Lakers and Atlanta play before them, and they would both need to lose for Miami to step up, to move up in seeding. And right now, Boston, all of Boston's starters are sitting, and Atlanta's playing Houston. You know what I mean? So, what are the chances of both of those teams losing? And so Miami's watching these two games in the early afternoon. So that's why I avoided Miami. Now, Philly, they're locked in for the first first in the East. I don't know if they have anything to play for, but they're -8.5. So Orlando shouldn't win this game, but then crazier things have happened. But Philly really has nothing to play for, and the Clippers too. So I avoided them. So that whole theory goes out the window. But I'm just giving you some insight on what to consider if you want to parlay some of these things. But Houston might be a little bit sneaky. They have nothing to play for, and even if they win, it doesn't mess up their record for worst record in the league. So, Indiana has to win, right? Indiana has to win, but it doesn't secure them with anything. They're still in the play-in tournament, and I think the only thing that it secures them with is the is the home court, I believe. Let's see. Phoenix has something to play for, and San Antonio doesn't. So, but Phoenix is like -9 or something. I don't know. That might be a pretty good pick actually. Phoenix, yeah. But you know what though? If Phoenix wins it, but if Utah wins, it's a wrap anyway. Utah's gonna secure #1. Yeah, so that doesn't matter. What does matter here is the earliest game that matters. I think it tips off at like 3 o'clock or 1 p.m. I don't know but I know this is an early game. Charlotte and Washington. Charlotte and Washington is actually pretty damn important. It determines. It's almost like the same thing with Memphis and Golden State, right? It actually moves them up into the 8th spot, and I think they only play one game, and the winner of that moves on. I think the 7 and 8 spot play. I think that's how it works. The 7 and 8 spot plays, and then the 9 and 10 spot plays, and then the loser of the 7 and 8 would play the winner of the 9 and 10. Right? That's how it works. So you got Charlotte against Washington, and it's Washington -6.5. I think Beal's coming back. That's tough. The over/under is 227.5. That's kind of low, in my opinion. Yeah, that's kind of low. That might be a sneaky under. Charlotte Washington might be a sneaky under, but I'm not even gonna play myself like that. Yeah, that's why. You know what? Guns ahead, I might take the under. But you know what? I don't know. 227.5. I can see that shit going up by game time. That's kind of low. That's surprisingly low. And Beal might be coming back. Yeah, I won't be surprised if the game ends something around like 111, 105 or something like that. But yeah, man. I appreciate everybody that subscribed. Look out for some. I'm gonna these playoff games. I'm gonna just sporadically post whichever one I like, and it's been a good season, man. I look forward to next season, and I hope everyone has a good playoff run. I'll still post here and there, but I got to be very selective. All right. So hit that like and subscribe, man. Peace.